Okay, this is Brandx Reviews. We're here to watch the new Robocop film. We're going to see if it's any good, and you will see our review of the film after this. Here we are, screen 12.
Dead or alive, you're coming with me.
Hello and welcome to Brandx Reviews. This is part 2 of the Robocop retrospective / review. In this one, like we said, we're going to review the new film, which we've just seen today.
Yeah, we're just back from seeing it.
Yeah, so before we begin anyway, we just want to say this video was done on the 13th of February, so happy birthday to our friend Buff, if you're watching this.
Hey, Buff Nuts!
Topher unfortunately couldn't be here for the video, but he has left you his underpants, which are quite, I think they're a bit too small for him nowadays, but he wrote a special message on you there, so happy birthday Buff, we hope you enjoy this video. So anyway, where do we begin?
Well, let's start with non-spoilers. We'll keep this.
Yeah,
we don't want to spoil it for you if you want to see it. Although,
yeah, I think later
minor spoiler, it's not that good.
Yeah, we'll just kind of kick in the spoilers later on, but we will warn you if we're going to throw any spoilers out.
Yeah, the basic synopsis of the film is OCP, big producer of like military robots that are keeping the peace, stroke intimidating people in Afghanistan or somewhere.
Tehran.
Oh, Tehran is it?
Yeah.
Somewhere like that. It's basically that kind of thing. They want to institute them in America because that's the big growth market. But the people have spoken and they don't want robots kind of roaming the streets. So the head of OCP comes up with a new plan to win the public over, a robot with a human inside it, Robocop.
Similar to the original, basically.
Yes, kind of.
Updated theme-wise for 2014. But general opinion of it, what I'd said kind of going into it, I thought it's probably going to be alright, not terrible but not great, and I think that's pretty much my opinion having seen the film. What about yourself?
Yeah, more or less the same. It's average. I didn't come out offended, I didn't come out that interested either. In fact, the first half of the film was kind of dull.
Yeah, definitely. It kind of dragged a bit. It wasn't that long a film, and I wasn't like yawning and waiting for it to end, but it just went on way too long, too much kind of talk and debate over what's moral and what isn't, and not enough of the kind of stylistic action that we saw in the original film, or even in the sequels, to be fair. I would probably rank this on a par with Robocop 3.
And this isn't just because this is a PG. To be honest, the level of gore or presence or absence didn't really come into it.
Yeah, that didn't bother me too much.
It didn't come across as kidified or anything like that, like the series or anything.
He didn't shoot any cabinets that then fell on the enemies like we saw in part 1 of this review. But
like I said, that wasn't our problem. So don't just watch it and think, oh well, they don't like it because it's a PG.
Yeah. That
really didn't have any effect for us one way or another.
Yeah.
It was just the fact that the film didn't really grab us.
I mean, my thing that I said to you coming out of it was, what would you say was the coolest bit of the film? Because I couldn't think of a single bit that was cool. I mean, you think of the original films, even the third film, I can name bits in that film that were kind of cool, even if the film itself wasn't all that great. This one was very bland, fairly boring, and it just didn't have the kind of heart and soul that the original had. Which is pretty sad.
Yeah, it doesn't bring anything new to the table, which is pretty much the most damning thing I can say about it, really.
I mean, what I would say as well is, it's alright criticising it, but I realise it's a difficult thing to remake without kind of bringing anything new. They should have just done it as a Robocop 4, if they were going to do it at all, really. I think that if they'd have done it as a sequel, even though it's 20 years since the last theatrical film, I think that would have been better. I think they would have pulled it off more. The number of directions they could have gone with it. Like you were saying, if like they'd have done it so it's set 20 years after and Robocop's kind of obsolete or something, that'd have been an idea, like a good premise.
Yeah, maybe they finally got Delta City, or maybe Detroit's finally collapsed in itself, or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's the last honest cop. Maybe there are other robots. I mean, there's lots of stuff you could do with it.
I mean, I'm not saying guaranteed a Robocop 4 would have been awesome. I mean,
it could have just as easily been as bland as this, but
a remake.
Yeah, I don't think anybody was really clamouring for a remake. This is one of those films like Total Recall, for example, which also got a very bland remake, which we've not seen.
Yeah.
It didn't need a remake. The original stood perfectly well on its own. It wasn't dated. It wasn't unnecessarily cheesy or bad in any way.
It's another Paul Verhoeven film as well, isn't it? So, that they've remade. So presumably we'll be seeing Showgirls being... Was it Showgirls being remade next?
Well, everybody has got AIDS and shit, so...
Well, yeah, that's true. So, yeah. But some of the cast were quite good. Michael Keaton was alright. That was another thing that we were kind of saying.
Yeah, Michael Keaton is the old man.
Yeah, the kind of the business... He's kind of like the Dick Jones type character. He's not exactly the same.
Yeah, he's kind of... At once he's kind of the old guy, or the old man as they called him in the films, because he's in charge of OCP, but he's also kind of the sort of Dick Jones, because he's kind of a protagonist.
CEO sort of guy.
But at the same time, he isn't Dick Jones. We're not into spoilers yet, although I think from this point on we're going to say spoilers ahead.
Yeah, might as well throw spoilers on from this point
Yeah.
on. So we've given our general feeling. So if you don't want spoilers, please switch yourself and come back after you've seen the film. But yeah, like I was saying about the Michael Keaton character, I would say he's pretty much the bad guy of the film, isn't he? And
yeah, and for very little reason. He doesn't really do much that's hugely villainous.
he deserves to go to jail, but he's not like the really evil villains that we saw in the original.
Yeah, it's not like he's like kicking people out of the homes with the rehabs or killing people presumably because he kills off like the little girl's parents presumably at this relocation camp.
Yeah. So
And there's other thing. He's no Clarence Bollinger. He's not Dick Jones. He's kind of there. He's kind of immoral. He tries to shut down Robocop because apparently he's malfunctioning, or they're afraid he's going to malfunction. It'll look bad.
yeah.
His only interest in Robocop is to get this bill pushed through so he can bring Ed 209s and like the humanoid robots they've got as well over onto.
Talk about the bill and what that was. The whole point.
Yeah, the whole focus of the film is this bill they're trying to get repealed that Congress passed.
They pretty much outlawed drones and robots policing on American streets, even though they do it in other countries. There was a moral debate, and it kind of ran through the whole film. In some ways it was good, but they didn't really go anywhere with it massively. And there was too much talk about that, and it's like, yeah, we know that's kind of a part of it, but that's kind of became like a big part of the film. And there was a lot of debate and a lot of moral, talk and stuff like that going on through the whole thing.
Yeah, basically the Robocop program is, as we said before, just
PR.
Yeah, a thing to basically show to the public that this is what a robot could give you. This isn't a proper robot because there's like a cop in there, but imagine what an army of this guy, basically our drones, would be like.
I mean, some of the stuff was pretty good in it. The kind of technical side of it. I mean, if you're kind of a techno geek, you'd probably get something out of this film. Because whereas in the original, you'd see Robocop like having a problem or a fault or something, a glitch. It didn't really go any deeper than that. But in this, it really kind of explains like what's happening and that like they're pumping him full of drugs that kind of
dopamine and stuff.
In his brain directly, and how he's fighting it, kind of thing. And it kind of tells you what percentage it's kind of taken down to, and at that point it becomes more of a robot than a human. And that was kind of done well. I mean, things.
But at the same point, again, it doesn't have the big effect of the payoff that you would think it does.
Yeah.
Same with basically they initially decide that he's kind of rubbish because he's not as effective as a drone. He still takes cover like a person would. He hesitates and like tells a guy to like let go of a hostage, things like that. Whereas a drone just waltzes straight through it, headshotting everybody, So they basically modify some stuff in his brain so when his visor comes down and he's properly Robocop, he's not fully in control, even though he thinks he is. Ultimately, it's the robot side of him that's...
The autopilot type.
Yeah, he thinks it's his choice, but it isn't. Now, you'd think that would be like a major point in the film. It goes nowhere.
Yeah, you think that would be somehow relevant later on in the film. I mean, I suppose if they had done that, would have been predictable, but...
Then again, why waste so much time establishing this fact for it to go nowhere?
Yeah.
Basically, the film seems to be moving on quite quickly to begin with. Our Officer Alex Murphy's chasing down basically the Clarence Bodinger of this film, although he's not even a shadow of the guy out of the original Robocop film. He's a very generic villain who doesn't really do much and is dead by the halfway mark.
You're going to get pulled up by all the YouTube trolls. It's Clarence Bodinger. I can just picture the post saying, get it right. This is a guy who gets names wrong all the time.
Yeah,
so.
sue me. I don't give a shit.
But, yeah, there were some other good cast members. Like, Gary Oldman was really good in this. And there was... was it Lawrence Fishburne was in this film as well?
Morgan Freeman.
No, it was Lawrence Fishburne, I'm sure.
Yeah, he does the...
no, it was Samuel L. Jackson. Oh, damn it.
You know what? See, you're as crazy as the people on Twitter. Right. I'm not Lawrence Fishburne.
He's going to be pissed now.
Oh, he's going to be fucked off now, Samuel L. Jackson. If he sees it, Sam, if you're watching this film, we're sorry. But yeah, he's pretty good. Well, you explain what his part in the film is.
Basically, he is this film's version of the media break. And he seems to be one of these kind of commentators you get on Fox News or something. He's got his own little show, like Hard Talk or whatever. I think that's like Sky.
The O'Reilly Factor.
Yeah, something like that, basically. And he comes on occasionally, and he's obviously pro bringing the drones over, military control kind of thing. However, it doesn't really do anything to build the world like the media breaks does.
Yeah.
It doesn't really advance anything.
That could be a programming hour. That could be like 1 hour TV. It didn't kind of feel like... Because in the original Robocop, it kind of created its own little universe. It didn't feel like it was the world we live in. It kind of felt like an extension of the world we live in, like a futuristic. But the Samuel L. Jackson bits were a lot like something you would see, like say, on Fox News. Maybe not quite.
To be honest, they got kind of intrusive after a while. It was like, oh, this again.
Yeah.
Basically, I needed to go to the toilet during this film, and when one of those came up, it's like, right, I'm going.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there was one point when they said, is the US Senate pro-crime as well? So they were kind of going...
It wasn't anywhere near as intelligently done as...
And it wasn't funny either, really. I mean,
yeah.
It felt like, because right at the end of the film ends pretty much with this Samuel L. Jackson bit talking about it. And it didn't really go anywhere. I thought something was going to happen, like he was going to be like, something was going to happen and he'd be like humiliated or something. But it doesn't, it just ends. And the song in the end credits, I Fought the War. I Fought the Law.
Now you're talking about the YouTube trolls.
I'm sorry.
I mispronounced like a character's name.
and I got like song wrong. I Fought the Law. Sorry.
And
I fought the core. I fought the core.
And the core won.
Yeah. But the theme as well, the Robocop theme, do you want to mention that?
Oh, God. My first problem with it is...
Got off on a bad foot
they
with
took
this film.
the Robocop theme, the iconic theme, and they had to kind of make it a bit more modern, and it sounded crap. It was like, why did you bother? It's that one of those remake things where they kind of play a little bit of the original score occasionally, very occasionally, just to remind you, yeah, this is, you know, a remake, you know, we have actually seen the first film, we promise you, even though I'm not entirely sure they have.
The theme we're talking about is this bit here. So that's what we're talking about. It just kind of, it didn't sound quite, it kind of sounded a bit kind of funked up a bit, I don't know.
Yeah, it just didn't work. The original had like a big industrial kind of...
Yeah, like Terminator theme.
Yeah.
Like
it gave you that feeling of like, Robocop's this big badass who's coming to get you, and no matter what you do, he's going to get you because he's the Robocop, you know, you can't stop him.
Let's talk about the suit as well, because there was a lot of thought about this. I know Jeremy Jans had said, watching a trailer, you know, that they preferred the blue Robocop gear to the black one, and that maybe the black one came in kind of the end of the film. But in this, it's not the case. It's pretty much, he goes around for a while in the blue suit, but it becomes black, and it just doesn't work for me. What do you think?
Didn't really bother me. I didn't mind the suit at all. My main problem with the choices is when the mask comes up, if you like. Basically, the point the visor comes up, he isn't Robocop, he isn't Alex Murphy like he's portrayed by the first films. he just looks like Iron Man in his suit, kind of thing.
Yeah.
You just expect him to like climb up and go, right, I'm fine, I'm sorted.
The other big difference as well is that in the original film, Alex Murphy's dead, killed in the line of duty, and there's like an emotional transition from that to him becoming Robocop. There's like an almost resurrection, like kind of like a Christ-like thing. I mean, that's what they intended it to be, kind of thing.
And with the kind of Murphy, it's you, and
yeah.
it really moved the film along.
This is just a guy who's been like near death and then comes back with prosthetics. He isn't dead. He's still Alex Murphy. He's still got his wife. Is very much in the picture, kind of.
Yeah, his wife and kid are still supportive and there for him.
I mean, I know
there's not the isolation, like you can't go back again.
Exactly. It's exactly well put. Is that?
I think I don't know how true this is. It's just something I've heard. But one of the things that convinced Paul Verhoeven to actually do RoboCop, because they're having trouble just getting directors, let alone getting a studio to touch it, is he actually read through the script, and the bit where he's going around his house, experiencing memories of his life, is what convinced him, and it is like a really good scene. There's none of that in this film.
Yeah, there's no emotional transition from... Well, there is, but it's not the same. It's not like going through death and coming back. It's just a guy who's had his body blown apart. Now, one thing I will say that's good about this film is it shows him, it strips all of his armour away, and it literally shows what is left of his body. And it's kind of gross. It's just like his head with his brain all exposed, then his larynx, which is all bare, and then just his lungs in like a jar, and it's kind of gross.
And his hand,
which is like connected to a wire. It's not like he's even got an arm. It's just
like
a wire with a hand.
I really don't get why they kept the hand. I mean, you suggested maybe it was for like human contact, but I didn't see any sign of that at all in the film. Like they intended him to be a touchy-feely police officer. In fact, quite the opposite.
Yeah. So, but I mean, that bit kind of looked quite cool. Anyway, there's a lot. Like I say, visually it was very good. Some of the action was quite good as well. It got a bit CGI, but I think it was necessary. Yeah, I did like the fact that Robocop could actually move. He did get a bit too C-3PO in some of the earlier films, like very like... Yeah. It's like, well, this guy's supposed to be state-of-the-art. Surely he could move a little bit more like fluidly than that. I mean, I did like that. It was kind of a thing. For this one, it went in a different direction. It was kind of fine in the first film, but I found in the second film it got just like a little bit too much. Yeah, it looked like he kind of shat his pants and he kind of walking like quite funny, kind of. But also, they did away with the iconic Robocop gun. He had just two standard-ish machine guns. Like yeah, to be fair, I couldn't really identify which one he was using at various points. I'm pretty sure he was using the pistol most of the time, but... It was more of he used it for like tasering as well, didn't it? Yeah, it was kind of like a taser pistol that could kill or could subdue. Yeah. Which again, it actually made sense, because why does he kill everybody? I mean, surely like a cop should be bringing people in alive. Yeah. But then again, it did open up the slight problem for me in he has a weapon that can safely immobilise people for trial, and he's bulletproof up to like a 50 cal, and they actually like say like beyond a 50 cal he's in trouble. Yeah. So why is he not just going for stun shots all the time and bringing people in? Yeah. Beyond, well, we want to show him being a badass and shooting down criminals, which I'm all for, but logically, if he's got that ability, why isn't he using it? Yeah. I don't think there's what else anyway to really add. Anything else? They change Anne Lewis to... I forget his name, but basically Lewis is now a guy and a black guy. Instead of a white chick, it's a black guy. I'm not really sure why they did that. To be fair, I'm not really sure why the character is there. I think because he already had a leading lady kind of thing with his wife, maybe, so they felt like if there was another woman in the picture. I'm not really sure why they bother with the Lewis character. He doesn't really do much until the very end of the film. He shows up a couple of times, but he just basically isn't that vital. He's a bit of a... He's not like Anne Lewis is in Robocop, where she's the person that coaxes like Murphy out of the shell of Robocop. Yeah, there's no kind of brings out the real connection either, is there? It's just kind of a generic partner that's not even in it that much either. Yeah, I mean he kind of shows up at the end to kind of save Murphy's butt, but that's kind of it. You could have deleted all the scenes with him in, and you wouldn't notice. It wouldn't touch the film in any way, really. So. And basically, if you did, you'd have some more time for. Well, basically, actually showing Robocop being a cop, which is something that was very lacking. He maybe arrested like one or two people before he decided to
suddenly all crime was cleared up, Detroit was perfect, crime's down 80%. You didn't really see Robocop do much to establish he'd done this. He just
there's the bits
get told he's done.
In the original films where there were a lot of scenes where he just kind of, you saw him going around doing things like with the bit where he shoots the rapist through the woman's skirt. There's a lot of good bits like that in the original film, and indeed the other films. There isn't really anything. There's a few token bits in this one where he arrests people, but do you remember any of them?
No, just the first one, which was like, I've downloaded the entire criminal database. I'm just cross-referencing everything, going through the entire crowd. That guy there happens to be a criminal, so I'm going to arrest him. It seems like a bad guy.
Yeah, he just kind of runs and he gets tasered, and that's pretty much it. So it wasn't spectacular. It wasn't anything. I wouldn't be going into work and be like, oh yeah, there's this film, and he scans all the people in the crowd. And he
whereas like the first time you watch Robocop, it's like, well, there's these two guys, and he's like trying to rape this woman, and he basically shoots him in the knackers right between her legs without touching her.
Yeah, so that's kind of different.
You know, that's the sort of thing that would stick with you. That's like a cool moment, if you like, that's going to be memorable. This was just like
bland and boring.
Yeah, he scanned the crowd, he spotted somebody, big whoop.
Yeah, and it pretty much sums the whole film up. But I probably will buy this when it comes out, but I'll wait until it comes down in price. I certainly won't be there on the day it gets released, or in a rush to watch it again. But it wasn't terrible. I would say it's fair. I wouldn't say it's good or very good. I'd just say it's kind of fair. You were saying it's this time.
Personally, I'd say it's average myself, even skippable. Basically, your mileage will vary with it. But yeah, it's not as bad as the last film we saw at this sort of time of year, which would have been Die Hard 5.
Yeah, they usually tend to release kind of big films that should be big films, like sequels and that, in February when they don't think they're going to perform very well, because there isn't a lot of competition, really. Films that get released in February usually not that great.
Or romantic things or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, you might get some that are like, your big epic films, but films like action-y films are usually the rubbishy ones that get released this time of year.
They just want rid of them,
yeah.
basically. Basically, this isn't Die Hard 5.
Yeah.
The internal logic of this, with its robots and taser bullets and things, is slightly better than driving from Russia to Chernobyl.
Yeah.
Slightly more grounded in reality.
Yeah. I think that's about it anyway, so I think
we'll
to sum this up.
Brand X reviews.
Yeah, we'll put it, we'll have it low on there, we'll put it up here, I don't know.
Well, we could always put it on the undercackers again, so...
Oh yeah, as we said before, happy birthday, Buff. Toph has left his underpants for you, so I think he's kind of grown out of them.
Yeah, they're not really that clean, but we can...
They look like got a few skidders on
Brand X reviews.
Yeah, we'll kind of paste it over the underpants. These aren't my pants. Get out!
Hey!
Hell, that's disgusting. Right, and on that note, we'll see you next time. If you want to check back, as we say, the website is brandxreviews.com, and there's plenty more reviews up there now, and there's going to be plenty more to come. So if you want to check back, we also do news reports. We're going to start doing maybe some old game reviews as well. So check back, and we will see you next time. Thank you very much.
See you.